Hey there, welcome. It's Monday, it's National Hand Therapy Week, so I just wanted to come on live and talk to you all about hand therapy. I was actually just talking to my therapist, and after 20 years, I still love doing hand therapy. Maybe not every single moment of every single day, um, but I do enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. And I hope that if you're an occupational therapist, if you're a physical therapist, and you like hand therapy too, welcome. You're right in the space that you need to be. My name is Huang with Hand Therapy Secrets. Um, I help therapists. I help therapists in the hand therapy realm, no matter what part of the journey you're on. I hope to be able to help you increase your skills, your confidence, make this part of your journey more enjoyable. So it's National Hand Therapy Week, and this is a time where we get an opportunity to promote what hand therapy is and what it means for us. I've been able to just kind of develop a career over the last 20 years, pretty much just doing all hand therapy, right? And hand therapy is so broad. It's not just hands. It's not just hands. It's hands. It's wrists. It's elbows. It's shoulder. It goes all up to the neck and even beyond if you wanted to. Like there's wound care. There's splinting. There's so much about hand therapy that makes it really fun, makes it enjoyable, gives you a lot of how do you say variety in your career. Even within the realm of hand therapy, there's tons of variety. Every day you can see different cases. You have different personalities from the people that come to you. So hand therapy can be really wonderful, really fulfilling career. I don't have to tell you. If you're here watching and you're interested in hand therapy for yourself to be able to become an expert in your area, this is the best place. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I don't know if you've noticed, but a ton of OTs and PTs became certified hand therapists last week. I hope most of you guys have found out. And there's a ton of people to celebrate and to say, hey, congratulations for all the hard work that you've done. And for the people who didn't get the result that they want, that there's still space for you at the table. You just got to try again. You can't be successful if you don't try again. Now, I'm going to talk today to therapists who are several years into their profession. Let's say you're between 5 and 6 years into your profession. Anyone here who is 5 or 6 years into profession and you're busy? But who isn't busy nowadays? Like you're busy. You're working full time. You've got family life. You've got spouse. You've got kids. You're just really busy, right? Now, if you've been thinking about, studying for the boards, right? In order to study for the boards, there's only three things that you need to do to become a certified hand therapist. Honestly, there's only three things you need to do. You have to have been a therapist for a minimum of 3 years, right? So that's just about time. You need to have 4,000 hours at least in upper extremity management. And that's just about experience. Now, I think there's some myths in terms of what that actually means. If you're just starting out, grab the checklist. There's a checklist on my website where I kind of break down some of the myths of what those 4,000 hours are and all that good stuff, right? But you have to have the years, you have to have the hours, and then you have to have the desire to study in order to pass the boards, the hand therapy boards, in order to become a CHT. Those are the three things that you need, right? Honestly, those are the only three things you need. And I've always felt, and now that I speak to more and more therapists, I find that if you have that desire to become a certified hand therapist, if you at any point along your journey as a therapist desire to become a certified hand therapist, now is the time to do it. That desire doesn't go away. Actually, it gets stronger the more you try to ignore it, the more you try to be like, no, I don't need it, whatever. Now is the time to do it because you know you have the years, you know you have the hours, and you know you have the desire. So give yourself a chance. You're never going to be a certified hand therapist if you don't give yourself a chance. Nobody here is going to make you do anything. No job is going to make you do it. I mean, I've spoken to therapists who their job is like, yeah, you can do it. Like, we'll pay for you to do it. And they still don't want to do it. So it's never really about the money like we think it's about. It's kind of like that internal drive. Like, do we really want to do it? Because it does take time. It does take a certain amount of commitment, right? Like, let's face it. It does take time and it does take your commitment to study. Nobody passes this board without studying. Like, I've seen it. I've spoken to people and they're like, I thought I could wing it. I thought I have some experience. I studied a little bit, and it's just not possible because the way that this exam is put together, it's really about how you critically think through. And even though in practice we don't see it as much, and I love to see it improve over time, is that, you know, as an expert, in order to be the expert, you have to be the decision maker. You have to know what to say, know what to do to get the outcomes for your patients, right? But it really requires being able to critically think through what's wrong with something. So let's say I have, we're talking a lot about wrists, right? Fractures and stuff like that. Actually, got a wrist fracture in today. Didn't need to have the script, didn't need to know it. Looked at it, saw the scar, said, okay, great. This is what you have. Perfect. Tell me a little story about when was the surgery? When was the injury? When was the surgery? Did they have, you know, did you have therapy? Yes, I had therapy somewhere else, but I had it with this cast on. Great. And then after a little while, the pictures came out, the script came out, but I already kind of knew what I needed to do and what I needed to do to get this person started. So I wanted to help therapists feel comfortable and confident in how you're thinking through these types of cases as well, that you're not so reliant on the doctor's prescription. Yes, it's important to know that surgery is stable. Absolutely. If I had any question, I'd be able to go to that doctor and say, hey, doctor, I saw that this person has this surgery. I just wanted to double check with you. It's just a fracture and it's stable. Yes. There's no dislocation that I need to be worried about. No, perfect. Am I allowed to, you know, this is my type of protocol. I like to go a little bit faster as long as I see that the patient's doing really well. They have little pain. I like to progress them in this way, X, Y, and Z. How does that sound to you? So when I go and speak to a doctor like that, there's some inherent trust that I know what I'm doing, right? But if you're going to the doctor like, oh my God, I got this patient came in, like, what happened? What do you want me to do? What's your protocol? Like, I'm not really sure. It doesn't set you up as an expert and doesn't give that person confidence. Not only the doctor, but the patient doesn't give them that confidence that you know how to get the results, right? So when you dedicate yourself to essentially studying and sitting to become a certified hand therapist, you really get to expound and learn so much. Hand therapy is a very technical area of occupational therapy. Like, let's say, you know, you're in a skilled nursing or you're in acute, there's different aspects of all of those areas that are lovely. Even in peds, they're very nice particular areas and they have their own technicalities. But in hand therapy, there's a level of technical skill and technical thinking in order to be able to figure out what's going on with that patient, what to do, how to go about doing it, when to do it, how to anticipate problems. So all those things are really, really key. And I just find that when you study for the boards, that it really opens up your mind to understanding what's going on. I've taken several of my staff through this. I take every single time I have to hire. It's hard to find someone, even in a big city, with the experience in hand therapy, right? It is hard to find. So I know that if there's any time, now is the best time to consider specializing and being the certified hand therapist. Especially if you have the experience, you have the years, you have the hours. Now it just takes certain dedication on your part to want to do this. But here's the kicker. It's challenging if you tell yourself it's challenging, right? If you read a lot of Facebook comments, if you are in the therapy world, there's a lot of people who are going to tell you that things are really hard. But if you see it and you hear it, then your brain will think that it's hard. But I'm here to tell you it's not as hard as it may seem. It just, you want to break it down into like chunked out pieces, right? And part of it is that you have to get going. Like, I shared a story on Instagram the other day about procrastination. It's one of my favorite videos. I actually showed my kids, and we all have it. I don't care how old you are. We all have a certain level of procrastination, right? And it's not that we need the motivation and then we'll take the action. It's really, honestly, if we start taking the action, we'll slowly but surely get the motivation to keep going and to continue going, right? But here's a warning sign. So if I'm talking to a therapist right now who, you know, you're several years into your profession, I would say a majority of them are about 5 to 8 years into your profession, maybe even more. You're somebody who's busy. You're someone, you've got kids now. You've got a busy life. But let me ask you, when is your life going to slow down? When is your life going to slow down? Because I don't know about you. I thought my life was busy back then. I almost want to be the busy back then that I thought I was busy then. But it's nothing compared to how busy I am now, right? So imagine, when do you think you're not going to be busy? We're always going to be busy. We're always going to have shit to do, right? But here are the 5 warning signs that if you want to become a certified hand therapist and you want to study, but here are the 5 warning signs that you're going to keep putting off studying, right? And why do I talk about this? I talk about this because you need to know the warning signs so you can catch yourself. And when you catch yourself, when you have a certain awareness, it's when you can make the changes. It's when you can take the action. If you're blind, you're like, oh man, I'm good. And you're like living in la la land of like, I'm studying but not really studying, and you're lying to yourself, then you're going to be in nowhere. So here are the 5 warning signs that as a busy person, as a busy therapist, you're going to keep putting it off. And I bring this up because I want you to, if you have that goal and you have that dream to become a certified hand therapist, stop putting it off. Today is the day to get started. Today is the day to get started, right? Number 1, you keep telling yourself that you have time to become, right? Oh no, I'll have time to do it later. I'll have time to do it later. Well, what happens with later is that later never gets done, right? Anytime, what's that saying? What's it? Anytime you have, oh, gosh, I always forget this, how I like to phrase it. But basically, if you keep putting yourself off, it's this perpetual habit of that you're going to keep doing it because there's no right time to do it, right? There's it's kind of like kids. There's no right time to do it. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and friggin' do it, right? Before I had kids, we kept saying, oh, we have time, and then after a little while, actually, one, like, it's a long story, but one of the doctors kind of scared me and guilted me. I didn't really like that. I knew I wanted kids, just wasn't sure exactly when. And part of it's just, it's scary, right? It's just really scary to have children, especially when you're just enjoying your life as it is. And my husband and I was like, well, I don't know. We keep putting it off. Should we wait a little bit longer? And then finally we're like, yeah, whatever. Let's just do it. But one warning sign that you're going to keep putting off the exam is because it's hard, you're just going to keep telling yourself that you have time to do it later, right? The second warning sign that you're going to keep putting off studying for the CHT is that you feel really comfortable in your job, right? Who here feels really comfortable in their job that they're like, that's okay. I don't need to become a certified hand therapist because there's other people already. it's not going to make a difference. There's already people in my community. There's already people in my space. Oh, my job doesn't require. Oh, the surgeon that I work with doesn't care. He knows me. Oh, I got a question from Juliana from Portugal. I noticed that in Portugal it's different, but how does it work there to be a hand therapist? In Portugal, there's a master's degree, and after doing so, we're already certified hand therapists. Yes, so you're correct. It is a little different in Portugal. I don't know how it is in Portugal, but I do have friends in Brazil it's the same type of thing where she got her master's degree. She's a physical therapist, and she got her master's, like her bachelor's in physical therapy and her master's in hand therapy, right? And so you're already certified according to your country. But according to our, like, the designation to become a certified hand therapist, you have to be a therapist, and then there's no master's degree. We're coming out already. Like, I have my master's degree in occupational therapy. Physical therapists might have their master's or clinical doctorates or whatever, but then we take that extra step to become a certified hand therapist. According to write the CHT behind our name, behind our credentials, that designation comes specifically from the HTCC, the Hand Therapy Commission. They're the ones that give it. And then other parts of different countries around the world can also, their therapists can also sit for that board and become a certified hand therapist too, because you don't have to necessarily get it through the university level, right? So in Portugal, you already have it, then you already have it. But then that just means in your little area of the, in your neck of the woods, essentially. So that's great. You don't have to necessarily do anything else. But that's such a great question. Thank you for sharing. I have people in different, in Saudi Arabia, I think in Singapore, over in the UK. I have someone from Africa in our program they can sit to become certified hand therapists. And it just, like, in each of your countries, you just have to look and say, where is it that I would like to have that designation, that specialty where it says, like, I've learned this amount and I'm specialized in this way. In this case, I could apply for that committee even though I'm in Portugal. Yeah, you'd have to look into their website and say, because that's a very, I want to say, American specialty, like where you're getting it. So then it gives you a certain status, right? Of saying, I learned here, I know this much. And yes, you could take a look from Portugal and say, like, what am I able to get so that I can essentially let other people know that this is how specialized I am, that I could treat this level of cases, right? So in the United States, you can be a hand therapist, right? You can be a hand therapist. You can be an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, and you can treat hands. But you cannot say you're a certified hand therapist, and you cannot sign that you are a certified hand therapist. And then, I don't know in your country, but in America, you can use, like, from a business standpoint, I could negotiate my rates differently with insurance companies. I can market myself in a certain way that I could treat certain types of cases, and I actually know what I'm doing, right? So you can market yourself however, but if you don't know what you're doing, people are going to find out. That's the truth of it. You're say, oh yeah, I know how to do this. But if you really don't know how to do it, then that freaking sucks. Not only do you feel shitty, but you don't get results for your patients. And then they find out. So if you know what you're doing, great. But if you don't know what you're doing, like, study, right? Like, get better. And I wholeheartedly stand behind that. So anywhere from around the world, you can essentially look this up and see if in your area you can become a certified hand therapist and let people know how specialized you are, right? But studying for it is the challenge. Studying for it is the challenge. So one, if you keep telling yourself you have time, you're going to run out of time. Time goes by so fast. I cannot believe I've been a therapist over 20 years and a CHT for 15 years. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk, right? I still feel like I'm brand new. 2, you feel really comfortable in your job. You just feel really comfortable. If you feel really comfortable in your job, there's no pain point that makes you want to go get it, right? But this is what happens. If a doctor leaves the area, a new doctor comes in, they don't know you. Maybe they want a certified hand therapist. Your company might lay you off, might fire you. Who knows, right? Who knows? But you should want it for yourself, so that anywhere you go, anytime you get certain types of cases that come your way, you know what to do. You know how to speak in a way that lets people know that you know what you're doing. And that is key. That's always going to be key. Number 3, if you're looking at the books and you're somehow talking yourself out of it, right? You're looking at the books, you open the page and you go to chapter 1, you're like, holy crap, I feel like I'm reading in a different language, and you put the book away and you're like, no, I'm not gonna study, I'm gonna study risk because I have a risk case. And you open the book and then you put it away and then you just talk yourself out of it. That's a warning sign that you're gonna put off studying the exam, right? I'm telling you right now, if you keep putting it off, you're not going to become a certified hand therapist. Is this committee exam just an exam, or is it a preparation first? So you want to prepare for the exam to sit to test for it. Some people, they think, oh, like I know a lot of what I'm doing. And so they think that maybe they can just try and take the exam and be done with it, right? And then see if they pass or fail. But I don't recommend that, because the majority of the time that I talk to people, they don't pass, right? They don't pass. So I recommend that you study. I recommend that you prepare. Now, majority of the preparation is like do it yourself. Study by yourself. No one's going to tell you what to do. No one's going to tell you when to study. I mean, we're all adults here. We're postdoctorate. We're postgraduate. We don't have a university telling us what to do. We're supposed to do so. This is called adulting, right? This is called adulting. We're not in school anymore. We do what we want to do, right? Isn't that wonderful? I love that. So the preparation depends on the therapist. You have to want to do it. Nobody's going to make you do it, right? What usually drives people is they want to be able to have choices in their career. I want to pick. I want to work with post-surgical cases. I want the opportunity to work with post-surgical cases. I want to have the opportunity to work with certain esteemed surgeons that work with these types of cases. And I want to appear knowledgeable. Not only do I want to appear knowledgeable, I want to do knowledgeable things that get the patient's results. Like, how bad do you feel when you're working with somebody and you can't help them? Like, as therapists, we're in the helping industry, right? So it feels really shitty to not be able to help somebody, and then it feels really shitty if you have somebody in front of you don't know what to do, right? So it like those little things kind of erode at you a little bit. But one of the warning signs that you're going to keep putting it off is the studying. Like, if you're opening these books and you're not able to study and you talk yourself out of studying, that's a sign that you're just going to keep putting it off. And one thing to recognize about that is that if you can recognize these things, you're going to know, okay, I think I need to get help, right? I think I need to get help because I've put it off for 6 months, a year, 10 years, but you want to become a certified hand therapist, it's really just not going to go away. Your desire to become a certified hand therapist doesn't go away. I speak to therapists with years and years of experience, and I could tell you right now that as people start to get closer and closer to their time where they're looking to leave the profession, they still want to become a certified hand therapist. And actually, I have several of them reach out to me and say, hey, is it still possible for me to become a certified hand therapist, And I always think it's possible. It's possible as long as you're studying. It's possible as long as you're making time for it, right? Number 4 is one of the major warning signs that you're going to keep putting it off is that you're going to use your kids, your spouse, husband, wife, your work as an excuse not to study. The problem here is that you yourself want these things. And, you know, I know you're busy. I started this conversation with, I know you're busy. We're all busy. But at no point do our kids need less time. At no point does our work need less effort. Like, we're always putting effort into our work. We're always doing stuff, with our patients, with our departments, with our companies to really give the best, right? And then you have your, hopefully, not gonna wood, you're gonna have your partner, right? If you got rid of one partner, you don't want another partner. Am I right? Am I lying here? I'm not, but it's a warning sign that you use them as an excuse. But like, what if you want, a year later, are you going to blame them? Like, that's not going to be so great, right? What's your question? I finished my degree a year ago and I applied for my master's degree in hand therapy. I'm starting in September. I was really curious. Yeah, hand therapy is really interesting. Now, you just have to look in your area. So you're single, you have the time. Yes, you do. You do have the time. So you potentially could do it. The people who sign up really easily in my program to get help are the people who they are single. Well, maybe they're not single, but they don't yet have kids. They can put some priority to it. They tend to be right at that 3-year marker, and they're a lot more proactive. What is it about the 3 year? Like, they're just so proactive towards it. I know when I was sitting for my exam, it was 5 years. And right before 5 years, it was 4 years. I was like, come on, Huang, you can do it. Don't put it off. And I was trying to study and I would put away the book. And then I would, try to read, and I would read laying down and I would fall asleep. I mean, it was ridiculous. So I was trying, but it was really, I was trying, but it was like terrible trying. I wasn't getting nowhere fast, right? Um, and but I think that the people who are reaching out recently and in the past, in the last 3 years I've done it, they're just like, they're on it. Those 3 years, whatever, single, um, they're like, I want to go fast. So they joined the program and they're like, Juan, help me go fast. I'm in it. I want to take it and I want to be done in 6 months. I want to be done in a year. And we create a plan and they just go for it. And they have their ups and downs too. I'm not saying that they don't have their ups and downs. We all have our ups and downs, right? You kind of get going. It's a crescendo of motivation is very high, and then it starts to dip. But when it starts to dip, if you're in a program that kind of helps you to stay accountable, gives you structure and helps you to focus into the things that you need to focus in, instead of just like focusing on all types of crap that you don't need to memorize, but you think you need to, right? Helps you to, like, even when you take a dip down, that you come back up and your crescendo of motivation comes back up in time for the exam, right? But where and why I'm talking about this is I tend to find the people who keep putting it off. The people who keep putting it off tell themselves these things, right? And I want to encourage you to look for these warning signs. And if you see these warning signs, it's really the top thing that I think if you can have certain awareness around it, it can help you catch yourself faster, so you're not losing any time, so you're not putting it off any further. Because at the end of the day, I know you want this, and it's really just about helping you know that you can go for it. Helping you know you can go for it, right? Um, if you say you have no time, right? For someone if you say you have no time, the fact that you have no time is exactly the reason why you need to be inside of a program that helps you save time, right? So the fact that you have no time to read should be the reason why you are in a program like this that helps to speed up that reading process. Because inside the hand exam prep program, I've broken all the information down into chunks, and I've broken up a lot of the topics and a lot of the chapters in a certain way to just help you get through the thickness of the material, the boring part of the material. Because when you understand, part of it is like when you take a complex concept and you simplify it and you understand it at a level that you're like, holy shit, I didn't realize I could understand it that way. Then when you're studying for the exam too, then you can make it complex again. So you have take a complex, make it simple, and then from simple make it complex again, so that you can understand key words and terminologies that can help you when you're reading understand, oh, this word means this. But it's not necessary because you have to recall. You have to recall as if someone was asking you a question. It's a multiple choice, people. There's a way to learn how to, like, when you study, how to understand concepts. So it's not about memorization, and it's about like understanding the scenario, understanding so you can make decisions on what is the best possible choice. Because there's choices. There's 1 and 2, and they're neck to neck, but one is going to be better than the other. Right? One is going to be better than the other. How do you prove your working hours? Well, if you have an employer, then you want someone to sign off on your hours to say that this person is telling the truth. And if you are your own employer, then you have to testify to say that it's the truth. My program, the hand exam prep program, is a face-to-face online program. So we meet at certain times throughout the months as we prepare for it. And then we have whatchamacallit. And if you can't make it due to time difference and stuff like that, everything is recorded and placed so you can watch the replay. Is the exam always in English? You know what? I would have to ask my other members. I do believe it is. I do believe it is in English. I could be wrong, but I have someone else who took it, and I have to ask her and see what other languages they provide. But I do believe it is in English. So, but essentially, if you have no time, if you think you have no time, right? The fact that you have no time is the reason why coming into a coaching program like the hand exam prep program is so key to helping you feel like or actually get through all the topics. There's so many topics. I mean, there's so many topics, all the details, so that you can cut and chunk all the information in a way that helps you digest it. It's understandable. It's and so that you don't have to sit there and memorize it all. Like, so much of it isn't about memorization. And they break up the exams, so it's really so much about critical thinking. It really is. It's the same in a way as in your clinics. I think sometimes the problem is, like, people are now working without thinking. They're just remote. Oh, let me just look at that protocol book. The protocol book told me to do it this way. Or, oh, my doctor told me to do it this way. Oh, I watched another therapist and she did it this way and she taught me to do it like that. So I'm going to just do it like that, and that's the right way. Right? And though I'm not saying anything is wrong with the way that praxis is, I'm just saying that the exam doesn't test you on that. It doesn't say, hey, your friend did it this way. Should you do it this way? It does. Oh, your doctor wants you to do it this way. The exam is not going to ask you about your particular doctor and how he wants to do it. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. Your doctor can do whatever the hell he wants. I have a surgeon I used to work with who would let me take down the post-op dressing of a distal radius fracture 5 days, and we would do gentle wound care. We would put them into a custom fitted orthosis, and we would start gentle tendon gliding and all this stuff. Gentle motion, nothing aggressive, nice and easy. Got great results. Another surgeon that I was working with wanted to cast every single one of them, and I would talk to him and be like, hey, when I worked with Dr. So-and-so, I used to do this, and we used to get them going, and I could avoid stiff hands. I could avoid trigger finger. I could avoid CRPS, like all sorts of stuff. would you consider, taking, like, working, in this way, we can split them, and he was like, nope, absolutely not. I've always done casting, and that's the way I've done it, and I get great results. And I was like, okay. And I would try every once in a while to be like, hey, so how about we try splitting them and getting them out of the cast? And he was just like, nope. But it doesn't matter who you work with. It really doesn't matter who you work with. What matters is that you understand why someone should be casted, or someone would be moving, or the healing properties, and what you should be looking for as a certified hand therapist. Right? What you should be looking for as a certified hand therapist, what you would be doing as a certified hand therapist. Right? And then if you have that ability, if you understand it, you can go talk to someone and say, hey, this person looks like this, and this, do you think we should slow down and go a little slower with them? Or maybe they're looking really stiff, and I project, or I predict that these are the problems that might occur. How about we change and we do this, right? How about we, put them into, like, what's a common problem in a distal radius fracture? Trigger finger. Fucking sitting here going like this all day, they're going to develop trigger finger, right? So you can kind of catch some of those problems early on. What you could potentially say to, and work with doctors, work with your patients, right? But it will also allow you to know how to critically think through it. So when you get onto the exam, there's going to be a slew of questions. Who knows what those questions are? I'm not here to tell you what those questions are. I'm not going to tell you what, because I don't know them, right? All I can do is I can help you critically think through, because of the information you studied and so that you can rule in and rule out and pick the best possible answer, right? After doing your master's degree, having the necessary working hours, I think I'll try to make it as a goal. Yeah, absolutely, Juliana. You can make it a goal. Why not? Why not? There's a designation that brings a lot of esteem. People recognize it in the world. There's only like over 6,000 certified hand therapists in the world. Majority of them sit in the United States. But if you imagine, if you could have it from all over the world, how powerful it can make your practice. I know that the Brazilian therapists that came to United States, came to Miami to practice under the hand surgeon at that time, and I was a certified hand therapist, it gave her a lot of credibility when she brought back to her community everything that she had learned working with us here in the States, right? You're just bringing in a level of certainty and expertise, right? And that goes to show with anyone that when we go anywhere else and we're searching for that knowledge, how powerful it could help us, become better therapists for the people who are coming to us in our community. So make it your goal. Kudos to you. I can't, update me as you're going along. Let me know how you do. If anyone here already has the years, already have the hours, and you have the desire, you have the interest, you're like, I'm gonna do it, this is my year, then I can help you. Right? If you notice these 5 signs that you keep putting off, and one of the major ones that I always hear about is that I don't have time. Right? Number 1 is I don't have time. Number 2 is it's hard to study on my own. Looking at the books and talking yourself out of studying, because you start reading, you keep putting it off. You start reading, you keep putting it off. Right? Those are the 2 biggest warning signs. Those are the 2 biggest warning signs. So, Juliana, I'm going to leave a link in the chat so you can go apply on the website page, right? So I take it by application, see who's ready for it, and I just want to make sure that everyone who's coming into the program is ready to sit for the boards. And then one of the things that we do is we create a plan. So there's some people, the exam is given out twice a year, once in May and once in November. So the May people just took their exam, and they just found out who passed, right? And there was a bunch of people who became certified hand therapists. The next exam is in November. So I've got a slew of people currently in my program ready to continue to move on, and they've decided to be in the program a little bit longer. They're going to the November exam. I've got some people joining right now. They're joining right now, and they are studying for the November. And the reason why they're able to join right now and study for the November exam is because they already been studying a little bit before coming in, and they're carving out the time. They're carving out the time to study. I've got some people coming in, they just know that they need a little bit more time, so they're going for the whole year program. So they're starting now, essentially at the end of May, beginning of June, which is right now, starting now, and we'll take them through to the May exam. So can I watch and participate in the program even if it's online? Absolutely. I've got people coming in from, if you want to join the program, just go to the link in the bio. And if you're watching this on Instagram, it's a link in the bio. If you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, it's at handtherapysecrets.com. And you can participate from all over the world. We've got people from Canada. We've got people, I had someone, I think last year from Hawaii. We have people from the UK, from Africa, from Zimbabwe, I believe, from someone from Saudi Arabia. Someone was in the program in Australia. So we've got people from all around the world, and we've got people in different time zones. And I explain all of those questions in terms of like, what time is it, and like, how can I watch if I don't miss, if I can't make it at 2 o'clock in the morning in my time. But all of that is there. Really, the most important thing here is do you want it? Do you want to become a certified hand therapist? Do you want to be seen as the expert? And outside of being seen as the expert, do you want to work and function in a way where you're getting the results for your patients, you know? And you're getting the doctors who are sending these post-surgical cases to you, that no matter what setting you work in, because you could be in a skilled nursing facility and work with people who have hand and arm problems. They're just going to be older people, right? You could be you can be working in peds and working with doctors who work with kids who have hand and arm problems, right? You can work in home health. Actually, one of my students, she's in the hand therapy mentorship program, and she's just now starting out her hand therapy kind of journey. And she is working a lot in home health. And you could say like, hey, I work in home health, and I see these type of cases, see these types of patients. I actually had a nurse call me. Somebody had fallen and had a major arm reconstruction surgery, and they needed a specialist to come to the house to do the therapy at the home. Obviously, it was not something that I could provide, but I referred her to someone else who potentially could help. But you know, you can be a certified hand therapist. You can be an expert in your area, no matter what setting you work in acute care, in burns, all of it. Let's take a look at some of these questions. What is the payment for the program? Well, you can pay for it all at one time, or you can break it. I have payment plans. Like I said, there's the application page has a lot of the questions that you might have in terms of who can apply, who's ready for it, and all that good stuff. How you can participate in the program. You can watch it. You can send questions in. I'll talk to you. Yeah, so yeah, if you're interested in joining, then I recommend going to that page. If you're not ready to sit for the exam, I really honestly think that the hand therapy mentorship might be a great place for you to get started. Because one of the things that I say about studying for the exam is when you create a plan that's too long, too far away, you can't keep that motivation going long enough to make it worthwhile for you. So if you're not quite ready for it, if you're not ready for the November exam or the May of 2023, then I'm going to direct you to the hand therapy mentorship program, which still gives you a lot of access, but we're just learning at a different pace. and we really focus on treatment. We really focus a lot more on treatment. We make it easy, we make it fun, so you can use those treatment skills right away, right? All right, so those are the 5 warning signs. I put 10, but it's 5. Those are the 5 warning signs, and it's key to take note of those warning signs so that you could know what to do next. If you are not aware, you can't do anything to help yourself, right? 2, the biggest out of the 3 is when you have no time is why you need this kind of program, right? When you need kind of help so you can get through it. And 2 is if you've been trying to study and you keep putting the books away, and you keep trying to study and keep putting the books away. If that sounds like you, definitely go to the link in the bio and apply for the hand exam prep program. You may not be ready for right now, but 2 years from now, yes. Yeah. But yeah, you look into the hand therapy mentorship program, Juliana. Look into the hand therapy mentorship program, because that might be might be the program for you. But again, slide into my DM, send me a message, right? Send me a message and I'll share the link with you. If you send me a message, Juliana, I'll share a link with you, and then you could take a look at it and we could chat to see which program is the best program for you, right? I just want to make sure that that's actually going to help you. So yeah. So if you're ready for it, you're looking at the November exam and you're like, how is it going to be possible? How can I make it happen? I can help you. If you're looking at the May exam and you've got your sights set on the May, becoming a certified hand therapist in May of 2023, then definitely apply for the hand exam program as well. And if you have questions, if you're on Instagram, then go ahead and send me a message and I'm happy to answer any questions you have, okay? If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can go to handtherapysecrets.com. I'll share a link with you at the bottom. And yeah, that's it. All right. So sounds good. Sounds wonderful. Don't give up on your dreams, please, because if you do, you just won't be happy. I know you won't. So go for it. If there's anything that you take out from this, like if you want it, go for it. All right. Until next time, I'll talk to you then. Bye, guys.